Boom shakalaka, as Bitcoin is lining up to have a record year, I'm going to share with you guys my Bitcoin and cryptocurrency exit strategy. A lot of people are asking how I am going to be exiting the market at the end of this cycle, and I'm going to share with you in this episode exactly how. The answer may surprise you. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, I am going to be answering a much answered question. How am I exiting the market at the end of this bull run, and how am I exactly going to know when the top is? So in today's video, we're going to be sharing with you all of that information. Now, before we get into it, make sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell. Also, come join us over on Twitter at the Crypto Love, where every week we give away one of these sweet shirts. And today's episode is sponsored by ALTCOIN, an alternative currency for global healthcare. ALTCOIN's primary purpose is to bridge boundaries with the world of healthcare, bringing about a whole new level of fairness and transparency to existing ecosystems. Since its launch on September 19th, ALTCOIN has seen an immense growth of around 80x. This places it firmly on track to hit its target of 1 cent by early 2022. Purchasing ALTCOINs is easy. Simply copy the contract address and head over to PancakeSwap to swap for ALTCOINs. If you've been seeking a high potential utility token, ALTCOIN is certainly worth a look. Their website link is in the pinned comment below. Be sure to check it out. Now, Bitcoin is lining up to have another record year. Things are looking very similar to how they looked October of last year. Even though the price is higher, things are looking amazing. So Willy Woo says the technical name for this chart is 2022 is going to be a good year. It turns out 2021, it's not the end. This is not the top as predicted previously. It will likely continue to 2022 and beyond. Now, if we take a look at this, this is the amount of illiquid supply shock ratio. And as we can see, very, very high. Actually, the highest it's ever been at the same time. The price is pretty much the highest it's ever been. Now, why is this? Well, partially because there's a fixed supply of Bitcoin. They can't go printing more like the government does with dollars. Bitcoin is truly deflationary. Because of that, supply shock happens when people put their Bitcoin in cold storage and then don't touch it. Well, previous areas where we are like we've been before was back here before the price ran up, back here before the price ran up, back here before the price ran up. So it would seem like the price is likely to continue to run up. As a matter of fact, after retesting as support, weekly SOPR has given us confirmation of an uptrend. It looks very similar to October of last year. As you can see, October of last year, price ran up above 1, bounced off of 1, and then ran up. Well, it was down underneath in the negative for a little while, or underneath 1, but has come back above, bounced off of 1, and potentially could be running back up, similar to what happened. Now, the SOPR is the spent output profit ratio, an indicator which reflects the degree of realized profit and loss for all coins moved on chain. Values greater than 1 imply that the coins moved that day are on average selling at a profit, whereas values less than 1 imply the coins moved that day are on average selling at a loss. So right now, people are selling on a profit, actually bounced off of the 0 or the 1 line there, and heading back up north. Now, even though it is looking like we are heading towards great spots for Bitcoin, price could potentially be where we are at the end of cycles, because historically Bitcoin has had a 4-year cycle coinciding with the halving cycles. Every year there's a halving, about a year to 2 years later there's a peak. Well, it doesn't appear like that's happening, because right now 2021 would be the peak. If we are to continue to 2022 and beyond, that would kind of break apart the whole halving cycle. And as Willy Woo says right here, this could be the last cycle. What will be this bull cycle top? In his opinion, there is no top. Past was a predictable walk of supply demand governed by a simple 4-year halving. Now, unpredictable walk of supply demand from a complex ecosystem until we hit saturation. So the price could just continue going up and up in waves like we've been seeing previously. As a matter of fact, Bitcoin right now approaching near all-time highs. We are only a couple $1,000s away from all-time highs. Guess what? On average, every time it breaks a previous all-time high, it doubles in price on average 34 days. That means that if we were to break all-time highs in this week, well, by mid-November, we could have $130,000 Bitcoin. That's insane. As we can see here, it only took 20 days here, 10 days here, 84 days here, which was by far the longest one, and 22 days here. So as we can see, and even if we take away this largest one and the smallest one, it looks like 21 days would be the average. So somewhere between 21 and 34 days could potentially be the average for how quickly the price pumps. Now, that being said, the best strategy right now, as Michael Saylor says, is to buy Bitcoin and wait. Because you don't know when it's going to happen, but it's simple supply and demand. Fixed supply, demand increasing, especially as people are more scared to hold on to dollars or stocks or all these things that they can print infinite. Well, Bitcoin they can't. So it makes sense to hold on to it. But one of the most often asked questions I get on the channel recently is, what's the next 100x cryptocurrency? But once that question's answered, the next most likely question is, how are you cashing out and when are you doing it and are you going to tell me? So first off, yes, I will tell you guys when I start moving out of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. 2, how will I know? Well, one of the best ways to know is the Pi Cycle Top indicator. However, there's a little bit of game theory that comes into this because Pi Cycle Top indicator has been right back here in 2013 twice. Also, the 2017 top. It didn't flag here the 2019 top, but it did flag the recent intermediate top in 2021. So 4 out of 5 times it's been right on naming the local tops, and then it's been right 2 out of 2 on naming the highest tops. So very, very accurate. But a lot of people are knowing about the Pi Cycle Top indicator right now, which oftentimes when it happens that everybody figures something out, like once everybody figured out that DeFi was where money was made, you can't make money in DeFi. Once everybody figures out that NFTs are where money's made, can't make money in DeFi or NFTs. And that seems to be the way that things are going. Once everybody figures out that the Pi Cycle Top indicator is the best way to know when to exit, guess what? People are going to front run it. It's not going to work as well anymore. That's my theory. So where does that potentially leave us? Well, if we were just using the Pi Cycle Top indicator, and the Pi Cycle Top is a great indicator, what we could do is wait until the Pi Cycle Top indicator flags, and then every one of these red lines is a Pi Cycle Top indicator. The green line is actually the top of the altcoin bubbles, so all altcoins minus Bitcoin. It's labeled total under TradingView. Well, Bitcoin minus, or all altcoins minus Bitcoin, as we can see, it actually lags behind the Pi Cycle Top indicator by a week or 2. So if we were trading this the best way possible, we would wait for the Pi Cycle Top to flag and then sell a week or 2 later, or sell a little bit every day for a week or 2 after the top. But you see, that is only one indicator, and it has been an amazingly accurate indicator, but just like many other amazingly accurate indicators, it may not always be so accurate. So a lot of great investors say, by periodically investing in an index fund, the know-nothing investors can actually outperform most investment professionals. Peter Lynch also says most investors will be better off in an index fund. Now, both of these very good, very profitable investors say most people will be better with an index fund. And what is an index fund? It's a collection of things that help us pick it out. So instead of just relying on one, like trying to pick out the best stock ever, if you just hold an index of the S&P 500, especially a low-cost index, well, you could outperform the market on a regular basis, or at least perform as well as the market on a regular basis. So it turns out that you can actually do that with top indicators. And I would say better than the Pi Cycle Top indicator to be used by itself will be to use something like CBBI.info, the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index, because this is actually an index, a collection of, I think there's like 11 or 12 different indicators right now that all signal the peak. Pi Cycle Top is one of them, but it's not the only one. So right now we're only at a 61, and really a peak would be anything above like 85 to 90. So we're not even close to the peak yet, but let's take a look at what some of the indicators are and then also the graph. So in terms of indicators, we have golden ratio, we have Bitcoin search term on Google, we have halving to peak days, which is their own indicator they have made. We have Pi Cycle Top indicator, which we've gone over previously. 2-year moving average, Bitcoin trend, trend line, Ruppel Nuppel chart, 12 multiple, MVRV, Z-score, Rodel ratio, reserve risk, and Wooble top cap versus CVDD. Now, all of these metrics are somewhere between 0 and 100%. The golden 51%, 49% ratio is at 100%, and I proved in a previous video that this one is just wrong. There's literally zero chance that this one is correct, because either we had a top already, which isn't true, or even if it did predict that top, it was the wrong timing for it. So it's wrong completely. And also, since I took that one out of there, I also took the lowest one out of there, so we'd kind of have a better average, taking out the highest, lowest, leaving us with the averages in the middle. And if we take a look at the chart that we get from that, we can see that this chart looks pretty good. We're at a 60% right now, but it's not nearly all the way up. As a matter of fact, this peaked out the tops pretty much perfectly. You can see here, it picked out both tops in 2013, 2014, and also 2017 perfectly. So it would be likely that this one would do a pretty good job of picking up the top again if we're going to have it. So that being said, I'm keeping my eye on this one. When it gets above 85%, I will consider cashing out some of my portfolio. All of my portfolio? No, definitely not. Why? Well, because I'm an investor. I have a long-term time frame. My time frame is 10 years plus. I'm not in it to make a quick profit because, you know, you make a quick profit and then where do you actually put your money? Like literally, what assets out there are better than cryptocurrencies right now, especially Bitcoin? Well, maybe investment real estate. Other than that, there's nothing. There really is nothing else. So while I will likely cash out some altcoins a couple weeks following the peak of the cbbi.info, I do not think I will be cashing out that much more of my portfolio. Definitely not going to be selling any Bitcoin, probably not going to be selling any Ethereum, but altcoins, yes, likely. Why? Because I was burned by altcoins last bull run season. Back in 2017, most of my altcoins went down 99%. That hurts. That's worse than the great Wall Street crash of 1931 or whenever that was. So I likely won't hold on to them. However, that being said, it does bring me to this chart right here. So a lot of you are saying, but why aren't you just selling all of it? You could sell it and then buy in at a 50% discount. And yeah, you could if the price goes down, because that's a risk. It also may not go down. We may also have a signal flag saying it's the top and the price could potentially continue to go back up. You have to look. There's not many other great assets out there other than Bitcoin, other than investment real estate, other than maybe a few other things. People argue like uranium and oil and Tesla and whatever, but there's really not that many great assets out there because they're printing money. They're manipulating interest rates. It's basically gambling, government subsidized gambling. So that being said, it brings me to this last point here, which is probably the biggest argument why I will not sell a lot of cryptocurrency. I will not sell Bitcoin. I will not sell Ethereum. Altcoins probably, but that's about it. Because of this chart right here. So in terms of adoption, Bitcoin has roughly the same users the internet had in 1997, but Bitcoin is growing faster. The next 4 years on current path will bring Bitcoin users to 1 billion people. That's the equivalent of 2005 for the internet. So if we take a look here, we can see that right now that Bitcoin is roughly the internet in 1997. However, over the next 4 years, we could see Bitcoin hit 1 million users. And we can see that this growth curve is much steeper than the growth curve, here's purple line, for internet users or for PayPal accounts or for anything. It's the steepest one ever. So it's growing very, very quickly. Now, what does that tell us? Here's the really important part, and I hope you stuck around till the end of this video to watch this. Because if you think back to the internet in 1997, this was before iPhones. This is before this is before Zoom. This is before Instagram. This is before probably a lot of you were even born. But let's just travel back to the internet in 1997. Do you remember? This is what Amazon looked like in 1997. A little bit differently than it looks like today. This is what Google looked like in 1997. A little bit different than it does today. Guys, this was the Apple computer back in 1997. A little bit differently than it looks today. For all of you guys who think that you got into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and NFTs and everything else too late, I want to tell you, guess what? It's still pretty darn early, and based on these adoption curves, the next 4 years, the next 4 to 10 years, are probably the most important 4 to 10 years of anything, because this is going to be the most exponential growth we've seen of anything. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, all of them are likely to explode over the next 4 to 10 years. So because of that, I'm probably not selling a lot of it. I'll be selling some altcoins, maybe putting it into some stable coins and earning a return in Celsius, something like that. But I gotta say, it's not over. It's looking great. As a matter of fact, right now, everything is looking fantastic for Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. While it's important to consider an exit strategy, I don't think it's something we have to worry about for, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. And when it comes, kind of depends on you, your time frames, what you want to do with your money. So, thank you all for watching. I do really appreciate all you guys watching the videos, subscribing also. Hit the like button. Let's try and get to 1,000 likes if we can. I will catch you guys later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.